He is the
Yeah.
book. He is the
Yeah.
original Baba Yaga. Like
Right.
he's the
Right.
original
Right.
dude.
Blade
Like,
is John Wick before John Wick.
I mean, like this dude is giving the demons nightmares, if that's
Yep.
even possible. Then
Yep.
on top of that, I love the cast that comes along with it. You know,
The Blood Packer is their
yeah,
yeah.
like that in itself could have been its own little like
It could have been.
mini series or anything along those lines, television product or whatever. Like because those guys were very diverse themselves. In fact, I forget the guy's name, but he's like a very good character actor too. The bald headed guy who wears the shades, who Blade
Oh,
sticks
that's
the bomb.
Reinhardt. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
guy. Perlman. Ron
yeah,
Perlman.
Ron
Yeah.
Perlman. Yeah,
Yep.
he also is what is it?
Hellboy.
Hellboy. Yep, yep,
Yep.
yep. Right there with me. So that expansion, and then I think like other key elements is it gave him a love interest where like I would have
Yeah,
liked
that's
to
true. That's true. That's true.
where
That's
she was
true.
a strong, independent woman, just like
Yep.
Dr. Karen. So
Yep.
you know, it's not as if this was a one off with the first movie. No, each movie details, even with what's her face's name Justin Timberlake's wife, and I hate to even reduce her to that name. I just can't remember her name.
Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel. Like even with her character, with Ryan Reynolds' character, like
Mm-hmm.
there's always a strong female presence where it doesn't do them a disservice. They're able to handle their own, like you said.
Yep.
Then she's not a damsel in distress. She doesn't get refrigerated, a la Kyle Rayner's girlfriend in the Green Lantern comic books. Like
Mm-hmm.
she's not someone that's just easily dismissed and
Yeah.
minuscule and minimized. I think
Yeah.
the other thing too is when Blade 2 dropped, I was like, oh, can they do it again? Wesley's coming back. What's this? And it wasn't really heard of because you know you had Speed, where Keanu Reeves didn't come back for the sequel. Scott Speedman came in, and you had
Mm-hmm.
other different movies that doubled down on the present. Like, I'm sorry, Aliens. I know it's off a tidbit, but it relates to just the continuity being intact with movies
Mm-hmm.
that have sequels. So with that being said, Aliens, the second Aliens movie, where I liked Reese, excuse me, not Reese. What's his name? I can't think of his name. Where Private something or whatever with
Mm-hmm.
Newt and whatever. They ended up killing him off, and then they introduced Charles
Oh,
Dutton's
in Blade
character
3. I mean
in
Alien 3. Yep.
yeah, and I was just like, what? He was one
Yeah.
of the reasons why I liked the movie because he was on par with Ridley and he complimented her in such a
Yep.
way where, you know, they worked great as a tandem. When he faltered, she picked in. When she was ignorant and unaware
Yep.
of how money advancements had come in, he was able to give her tutelage.
Yeah.
And he was actually the bridge of helping her become more of a human again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, certain movies like that, even with the Rocky trilogies at that time, because we didn't think we were going to get a Rocky 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know,
9, 10,
yeah,
Creed,
none of that.
three Creeds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not even. I
Couple
mean,
documentaries.
they killed off Creed, so I was sitting there like, yo, what are you doing? But it
So Blade 2 is better.
oh yeah,
Now the one thing I will say now,
not by great much though, not by a great deal.
what's the name of the main like bad guy in Blade 2?
Oh, Blade 2 is the
The Reaper vampire. But what's
I
the what with the joint
oh
the
hold
face
on.
joint? That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That joint was
that thing is terrible. Yeah, that was terrible. As soon as that joint came on screen, you was like, "Oh, this is a different movie. They this budget is more.
yeah, yeah.
This is the oh, this is more than 47 million. They had like
No,
about triple
they
numbers on
opened
that
up
one,
the
man.
coffers for that one.
Yeah,
They
they
were like,
did. They really did. But I think that I agree with everything that you're saying. You know, sometimes in the movie sequel debate, it's like as good as a sequel is, sometimes it's harder to be better than the first because you always
yes,
think the first is kind of like what laid the foundation down.
true,
I
true.
so on Sci-Fi Network, they showed the marathon of all
Yep,
three movies.
it's still
So you
going.
can
Matter of
watch
fact.
all three of them back to back to back.
Yep.
So I watched Blade, then I watched Blade 2, and I was like, Blade 2 is a really good movie, by the way.
Hmm.
I still
Oh
like
yeah,
Blade a little bit more. I think we can both agree it's definitely not Blade 3 or Blade Trinity.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
definitely not the joint, not the main joint. And I know there was a bunch of stuff about that one. And by the way, yo, so many people have now rediscovered Blade in 2024
Only
as a
because of
result
Deadpool
of
and Wolverine.
Deadpool and Wolverine, man.
Hmm.
And the irony that, you know, there and allegedly on the set there was all this tension between Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel because Blade 3 was kind of being written in such a way to phase Blade out and
Hmm.
to phase them in. And Wesley Snipes obviously didn't want that. and then for Ryan Reynolds to now kind of bring Wesley Snipes back, and now he's got this whole advocacy campaign on social media to get Wesley Snipes to come back as Blade. I just think that that's a cool full circle moment.
But you know what? I think that was intentional. I think they over hyped it and things of that ilk and fed into that whole like, oh, he didn't like him. I think what it is like Wesley surmised in one interview I watched. Ryan Reynolds doing Ryan Reynolds is what Ryan Reynolds does. I know that sounds
Mhm.
crazy, but the whole
You watch one
theatrics
movie, you
and
know, yeah, that's what it does. Yeah,
that's his thing. That's his spiel. And if you've watched any of his movies, he's pretty consistent that way. He is
hmm
the 2.0 or remix version of Jim Carrey. Maybe not as
yes,
melodramatic, but
with
nonetheless.
abs.
Yeah,
Jim Carrey with
basically.
abs.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey with
best
Jim Carrey with muscles. Yeah,
best
I
way to
got
summarize it.
you. Yep,
And whereas Wesley still remains true to who he is, I don't think there's any one that is comparable to Wesley Snipes. So therefore, those two styles would clash. But I think they're both mature enough to understand, like, hey, you do what you do, I do what I do, and somewhere we can find a happy medium. And then
yep,
with respect to that, I think Ryan Reynolds is astute. I think it's like the old cliche. A wise man can play the role of a fool, but a fool can't play the role of a wise man. And I think Ryan Reynolds, from his business acumen to the roles he picks, everything is intentional and deliberate. And if you
yep,
think that this dude is dumb or off his kilter or whatever, off his square, you got another thing coming. And with
yep.
that being said, shout out to Luke Goss, who played Jared Nomak, the vampire, the
Nomek,
patient
yes,
zero of
yes,
the Reaper virus, and
yes,
basically that was him being in rebellion of his father. His father
yeah,
was a true vampire, and he didn't
yeah.
like the way he was being treated.